Good morning, y'all, and very happy new year. It is the year of our Lord, 2026. Now, a lot's been going on, and I am, as always, angry. But to counteract that and to start off the new year right, which I think is incredibly important, you must always start off on the right foot, which every day you have to start off on the right foot, because every day you have to wake up and you have to make a choice. Who do you want to be today? All right? And you have to do that every day. And because I'm feeling especially spicy and angry, I thought today, let's do a video that moves the needle forward for my agenda of classy, not trashy, okay? And what do I know? What are my strengths? And my strengths are superficial, really, okay? They're not all superficial, but a lot of it is. And I just happen to be someone whose personal interests and career choices lean towards the superficial arts. And one of my favorite things are shoes. So, in today's classy, not trashy episode, where I bequeath some of my hard-earned knowledge to y'all, we are going to be going over one of my very favorite things, which is shoes. Now, the very first thing to mention when talking about shoes is that do not get hung up on designer names, okay? The biggest and most important thing to look for in footwear is, first of all, what is it made of, right? Always go with leather. If and when at all possible, buy leather, all right? Second, look at construction. Where are they made? Oh, my goodness, we got crumbs and eyeballs, okay? Anyways, how are they made? How are they constructed? And fit. So fit really is something that you're only gonna be able to do in person or through trial and error, all right? So, in that vein, I'm going to walk you through some of my personal collection. And first, we're going to start off with your basics, right? Like construction, quality, what to look for, and then we'll get into the fun things, which are some of my favorite pairs that I've collected over the years, all right? And keep in mind, all of these shoes that I have collected over at least a decade, and some of them I've had for longer. And I am a huge eBay queen, okay? If I can get them on sale or with a discount or vintage, baby, I'm there, okay? I gotta save my coins somehow because it's a problem, and if I save coins on one pair, it means I can put those coins towards another pair, all right? Now, what are we going to start off first with? Well, first we're going to start off with a shoe that is extremely popular right now for a variety of reasons. One of which I think is this renewed interest in classic Americana, right? And that is Le Cowboy Boot, okay? So this is a pair that I got on eBay. And fun fact about this pair, this is a vintage pair of Tony Lamas. I got these in a size 7.5 because I wanted them slightly bigger. I wanted them a little bit bigger so that in the wintertime, because these are a winter boot for me, I am not one of those girls that goes out and pairs them with shorts in the summer. Baby, I run too hot as it is. I am not wearing boots in the summer. And if you are someone that does it, more power to you, but frankly, I think you look like you smell. Anyways, but fun fact about this particular pair of boots, and you can see this on the inside, is that they were originally a tan color, and I got a really good deal on them. and dyed them black myself. So it's really easy to do. There's a lot of instructional videos online that you can look at that will teach you how to do this. But you basically just strip the finishing off of the leather using like rubbing alcohol, or I think they make leather stripper. You strip the finish off, you dry it, and then you just layer shoe leather cover over it, okay? But this is my vintage pair of Tony Llamas. All right, now, key thing about cowboy boots, okay? And forgive me, these need to go into the shop. I've worn, they're vintage, so we've got some, you can see my little holes of wear here that I need to take these in and get rubber put over the bottom to protect them. But the one thing to note on cowboy boots, and I'm looking at the camera here to see if you can see. So when you're buying a really good pair of cowboy boots, okay, now I'm talking about this is what you want, all right? So if you see here, right here, where the stitch line comes through the bottom of the boot, that is called a Blake stitch, and that is incredibly common on most mass manufactured leather shoes, all right? And that's where you stitch through the top all the way through the bottom to connect the uppers to the sole, all right? But on cowboy boots, especially really well-made ones, you can see here, there are pegs in the arch of the foot here. And that is what you want to look for. A really well-made pair of cowboy boots will always have these pegs here, all right? So that's what you want to look for. And they should be leather. They're beautiful. I mean, look at the stitching on these, very classic cowboy boot, okay? But on cowboy boots specifically, and there's all kinds of toes. There's all kinds of toe shapes. This is very classic Tony Llama, like almond toe. They've got the wedge toes. You've got your like chisel shaped that are, you know, kind of like a coffin nail, but on a toe. It's really personal style. And each bootmaker typically has a couple of different lasts that are iconic to that bootmaker, all right? But the one thing, regardless of bootmaker, that you want to be looking for are these pegs on the bottom of the shoe. So if you're looking to buy a pair of cowboy boots and there are not pegs on the bottom of the shoe, don't do it, okay? Take my word for it, because really, what is my whole goal here with this? It's to be able to give you a repertoire of knowledge so that you can go out and you can make smart consumer decisions to build yourself a wardrobe that's going to be timeless and last, all right? Because we are anti-consumerism here, darlings, okay? We are anti-consumerism. Don't be going out here and buying your Steve Madden boots that cost like 120 bucks when you can go on eBay and get, or Poshmark, any of the retail sites, and you can go and get a beautiful pair of vintage cowboy boots. These were less than $100. Okay, I think I paid $75 maybe for this pair, and that probably includes the boot dye, the leather dye that I did to do these black, okay? So always, 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 and a really good pair of new boots typically is not going to, it can run anywhere, I mean, depending on which boot brand you're looking at, because if you're looking at some really like handmade boots out of Texas, which I mean, we all aspire to, right? But those are going to be thousands of dollars, especially if they're made out of like a specialty leather. But when given the opportunity, always save your coins for a couple of months longer and spend a little bit more to get better quality, because it will last longer and it will pay off in the long run, okay? And you can tell a difference. There's a huge difference in the way that this boot is going to wear versus a vegan leather boot, okay? Which y'all know, don't bring that up in my house, okay? Don't do it. I will judge you. You deserve judging, and you're killing the planet, okay? First of all, we're not really killing the planet. The planet's killing us, all right? We're killing each other. The planet will be here long after we're gone, all right? And it's going to be just fun. But what you are doing is you are contributing to the petroleum plastic waste in the land and in the oceans, and it's not cute. It's not classy. So buy leather, darlings, okay? And resale is your friend. Vintage is your friend. And if you're going to buy a pair of boots, whether it's cowboy boots, knee-high boots, whatever, it's better to buy a really beautiful, well-made quality pair than to spend, you know, a couple of $100 every month buying a brand new pair, okay, that are made out of petroleum-based plastic, fake leather, and they fall apart, they don't last, and you get sick of them, okay? So, boot 101, all right? Now, for my gentlemen's out there, and as well as my ladies, but for the gentlemen, all right, this is a very classic, if you were to own, I know most people don't wear suits these days, so you don't necessarily need the full like shoe wardrobe that men would have had back in the day, where you have an Oxford, you have a brogue, you've got them in brown, you've got them in black, maybe you've got an oxblood pair. Like, unless you're someone like me that you used to work in suiting, or, you know, this is just an interest of yours, most people really only need like one pair of really nice dress shoes to wear with a suit, because everybody should have at least two suits. You should have a casual suit in like a blue or gray, and then you have a formal one that is either a tuxedo or a black suit, okay? And in your tuxedos and black suits, always go peak lapel or shawl, okay? Now, and we can get into a whole video about that, but there's plenty of videos on the internet talking about suits and suit styles and all of that kind of thing. But this is a pair of Carminas, and what makes this particular shoe so fantastic, I think, if you're going to buy just one pair of dress shoes, is it's extremely versatile. Now, why is it versatile? Because it's a loafer, all right? And not only is it a loafer, it's a very clean, classic, hole cut loafer. Like, look at that. The leather goes all in one continuous piece. All right, it's very clean. If you shine it up really nice, it holds a shine really well, so you can actually get away with wearing it with like formal attire if you need to. And it just makes everything look fancier. You throw it on with a pair of jeans and a sport coat. You throw it on with a suit. It's just an incredibly versatile dress shoe, okay? Now, these are by Carmina. Carmina is a very well-known men's shoemaker. They are made in Spain, and this is, in contrast to the cowboy boot, this is a Goodyear welted shoe. Now, what does that mean? That means that you can, I'm trying to see if you can, they're incredibly well made, so it's very difficult to see, but if you were to look at this, see, get this focus, in here, there's actually 2 layers of leather in this sole here, okay? You can kind of see it right here. I'm gonna see if we can get a good little zoom in on that. Will it focus? I don't know, okay. I don't know if you can see that, but right there, there's a seam where you can see there's a top layer of leather and a bottom layer of leather, okay? And then when you look at this crack here, there's top stitching that connects that top layer of leather to the sole, okay? And that is different than a Blake stitch because that is completely separate from this upper, all right? And the upper has been completely attached to its own separate piece of leather, which, what does that mean? First of all, it means 2 things. First thing that it means is that it's really, these are going to be a very long-lasting shoe, because since the sole is separate from the upper, when you need to resole them, you can really easily take that entire bottom piece off, resole it, and have it just last a lot longer, okay, versus it being attached to the upper. Because if it were attached to the upper, then you're basically having to like dissect the entire shoe just to put a new bottom on it. Whereas this, the upper is separate from the bottom and is held together with this little, can we see it on here? Yeah, you can kind of see it in there. Can you see it in that little crack there? Yeah, there you go. See the stitching right in here? That is what's holding it to the base, right? And the other thing to note with these is that although we love a good year welt, especially for a men's shoe and a dress shoe, because it adds so much life and longevity to the shoe, it is going to make it much more difficult to break in. So matter of fact, he said that these shoes require a little bit of blood, all right? You got to put a little bit of blood, a little bit of sweat into these shoes to get them really going. But once they're comfortable, they basically mold directly to your foot. So they are going to be insanely comfortable once you break them in. But yeah, this is also a Cordovian leather. Now, what does that mean? Cordovian leather is a really like a nice, thick, smooth grained leather that's going to last a really long time. And you can also see that inside of this shoe, the whole thing has been lined in leather as well. So it's not lined with fabric, it's not lined with plastic. The whole shoe, top to bottom, is made of leather. All right, which means it's going to wear in really well. It's going to age really well. I mean, you can kind of see already from the wear that this loafer has had, you're getting these really great, beautiful kind of wrinkles here. They're not creases because this leather is so nice. You're getting these really beautiful creases, or wrinkles rather. It doesn't crease, it wrinkles. See that? Like, get these tassels out of the way. You see that right there? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It's gorgeous, darling. It's gorgeous. But yeah, this is just a really stunning, beautifully made men's dress loafer. 10 out of 10. And the great thing about companies like Carmina is they make matching belts, and always buy the matching belt if possible. All right. Now, the one thing that I do want to note is that these are expensive. These are not an inexpensive pair of men's shoes, okay? So this is a luxury buy, 110%. Actually, I need to polish and oil these. They're getting a little dry. So I need to do that. This is a good thing for me to note while I'm doing this video. But yeah, Carmina, phenomenal brand. And if you're looking for, and always, 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 when possible, store your shoes with a shoe tree, all right? Always store them with a shoe tree. Pops in, goes like that. Helps keep the shoe shape, helps it keep from, collapsing on itself, and just preserves the life of the shoe. But Carmina, excellent menswear brand. Other brands that we really like, oh God, see, now I'm not even gonna be able to remember. It's not Johnston and Murphy. Maybe it is Johnston and Murphy. I don't know. I'll do some research and refresh my own memory. It's very warm in here right now, but we have to keep it toasty for the burrito. But anyways, I'll refresh my own memory and put a list of men's dress shoe brands that I recommend in the comment, the little, description of this video. And since we're talking about men's shoes, let's talk about this shoe. So this was a Christmas gift this year. These were vintage, bought on eBay. And this is a boat shoe, very classic boat shoe right here, okay? It's got the rubber sole. See, this is a Blake stitch, right? See that stitching that goes all the way through the sole? And if you were to lift up this leather insole, which is attached here, I'm not gonna peel that out, but sweet potato, what was that? Are you okay? Yeah? Did you just fall off the edge? Okay. All right. All right. You just fell asleep and kind of fell off the edge there? Ooh, all right. Well, Everyone's okay. I'm telling you, coffee, nectar of the gods. Anyways, boat shoes, okay? This particular pair was made by Raincourt, and that is a made in the USA shoe company. I believe they're based in Maine. This was a collaboration that they did with Brooks Brothers. Can you see? Can we see in here? Can we see that? Look at that. Raincourt for Brooks Brothers, okay? So, now, what is phenomenal about these? First of all, very classic shoe, all right? These are like the casual version of this shoe, right? Your suit version, your casual version. This version, you put it on, ma'am, I see you. Uno momento, por favor, okay? No, come up here. Come up here, yeah. Say hello, hello. Kiwi says hi. Can I have a kiss? No? Okay. All right. Oh, excellent work, darling. Excellent work. All right. So, as I was saying, this is your suit shoe. This is your casual everyday shoe, okay? Now, which is precisely why these were purchased and then gifted, all right? Because I was looking for a shoe that has the ease and comfort of like a sneaker, a tennis shoe, right? Like if you were to, you know, look at like a Vans slip-on, but have it in a leather shoe form, you get the boat shoe, all right? This is also very classic Americana. And being made in the USA, we're a huge fan because we're pro reshoring American manufacturing in this household, and what better way to support that than buying a pair of made in USA boat shoes, okay? So, but yeah, these were purchased because I wanted to get him a pair that basically replaced slip-on sneakers or sneakers of any kind. First of all, because the man doesn't like laces. And I don't blame him. They take time. You know, my white tennies, I leave them permanently laced and just slip in and out of him, all right? We're not going to show those because they are beat to shit. Actually, maybe I should. Why not, okay? But these are a really beautifully made pair of boat shoes. You can wear them with, shorts, you can wear them with jeans, you can wear them with khakis, you can wear them with, he got vintage corduroys for Christmas as well this year. These go with everything, okay? And they automatically add just a little bit of a, you know, a bump in outfit riz, in my opinion, okay? Why? And that's part of why it makes sense that this is my very first classy, not trashy, hot tips from me to you on how to dress better, okay? Is because it all starts at the foot. The foot is the make it or break it, okay? Your shoes make or break your outfit, all right? They are the foundation to everything, which is why a good pair matters, all right? And why leather matters. And stop it with the damn Crocs, okay? Stop it with the Crocs. Stop it with the Uggs. Those are house shoes. Those are, I'm working in a kitchen, or I'm hosing down the fish market pier kind of shoes, okay? They're not shoes that you need to be wearing anywhere else, okay? You look sloppy, you look messy, and I can tell you right now that wearing those absolute booty hole of an excuse for footwear is affecting your life and affecting the way that you feel about yourself, okay? So if you're a young man, I got a pair of vintage Brooks Brothers tassel loafers. They aren't this, but they're similar. They basically kind of look very similar to this, but instead of the rubber boat shoe sole, they have a classic leather sole. I got a pair of those for my brother for Christmas this year because he's a huge cowboy boot fan, and boots are hot in the summer. So I figured, hey, you know what? If you need to switch off from the cowboy boots, a leather loafer in a really nice chocolate brown you can't go wrong. You literally throw them on with, you know, baggies and a polo and you're ready to go, okay? You can go anywhere, you look together, put them on with some khakis, a nice crisp t-shirt, and a sport coat, and bada bing, bada boom, baby, you're ready to rock, all right? So, boat shoes for the gentlemen, all right? Also for women, why not? You like a good boat shoe? Do it too. But yeah, boat shoes. And the fun thing about a true pair of boat shoes is that this lace actually works. So if it's a little loose, you can always snug the laces up and snug this up against your foot. And what else do we need to know about the boat shoes? I mean, they're a boat shoe, you guys. Rose Anvil, I will link his channel in this commentary. Actually, where's my little, I need a little notepad. I'm talking about all of these things that I want to put in the description, and I need to actually remember them. If I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put it in there. Then let's be responsible. Ugh. Oh my God. Just a mess, just an absolute unmitigated mess. All right, notepad. Here we go. Notepad. All right. Description. That is not how you spell that, but whatever. Okay. Men's shoe brands we love. And what were we gonna, oh, Rose Anvil. Link to Rose Anvil. Rose Anvil, his whole channel is basically devoted to the dissection of footwear and really getting into the nitty-gritty of what makes a great shoe. And he does a marvelous job on that. I will never be able to do what he's doing in that regard, so I will link you a link to his channel so you can go and look at all of his videos on boat shoes specifically. But these, like I said, these are raincourts. They're made in Maine. They're fabulous. This man loves them. He's been wearing them all the time and cannot recommend them enough. All right, Rose Anvil also does a lot of really good videos on boots and what to look for in boots. He also did a really fabulous video on white sneakers. But yeah, so there we go. Boat shoe, classic, okay? Now then, what are we gonna talk about? Oh, okay, well, since we're talking about loafers, I will show you my pair of loafers. These are my babies. These were a gift for me. I think they were a Christmas gift a couple of years ago. These are by Sebago. They are also made in the USA, because again, when we can, we like to support American manufacturing. These are a Goodyear welted loafer, which means, again, kind of like the Carminas from earlier, they are a little bit of a bitch to break in, but once you get them and you've spent a little bit of blood and a little bit of sweat in here, they are fantastic. I love them. I wear them all the time. You can see they've got this really fabulous thick leather sole here. You can see where the stitching comes down and then reappears in the bottom, but you can see from this really thick sole that the uppers were attached to the top layer, and then the top layer was then attached to the sole with that Blake stitch. See, and this is a really beautiful, easy example of what a Blake stitch looks like, all right? So that is my beautiful pair of Sebagos, and I am a tassel whore, okay? I love a tassel, and these have 3 tassels versus your classic one tassel, right? Like normally you get a loafer and it's just like that one little dinky tassel, but mine got 3, okay? It's basically like a kilty loafer, but if it was tassels. I love them. Absolutely obsessed. Cannot recommend these enough. And Sebago has some really fantastic variations on this. Love this brand. But yeah, Sebago, these are my classic loafers. You can see I've already worn them enough that I needed to put rubber on the bottom. But yeah, fantastic shoe. 10 out of 10. Can't recommend them enough. Sebagos, ladies loafer. They make men's as well. All right, now what are we? Okay. So this is now we're gonna move on to the more fun shoes. Okay, and pardon me. For my gentlemen's, I apologize. We don't have nearly as many fun shoes for you, but I can't help that. I'm a lady and I own a lot of heels, okay? Now, this is another, let's get a little close up here of this shoe. This is, isn't she beautiful? Okay, hold on. Let me get this. Get this right. Oh, ain't she cute? So this is a vintage summer sandal mule by DKNY. All right, these were made in Brazil, so they're vintage. DKNY no longer makes their shoes in Brazil, which is why these are so spectacular. Also because the construction on these is superb, okay, which is part of why I really love buying shoes vintage online, because you are able to get some absolutely spectacular vintage, really well made shoes for a lot less than new shoes that are predominantly made out of petroleum plastic. So now, why are these so spectacular? First of all, this is a stacked leather heel. It is not just plastic that has leather wrapped around it, which a lot of modern shoes are, okay? They try and make it look like this, where you have these, let me see if I can get it to catch the light here. See, okay, so see how it has these kind of ribbed lines going up and down? That's because it is literally made of stacks of really thick pieces of vegetable tanned leather that are piled up on top of each other to make this heel, and then it has a steel pin on the inside that gives it rigidity and strength, okay? And then that steel pin is then mounted to the steel shank that will run inside of this vamp. All right, so it is really hard to find modern shoes that are still made this way, okay, unless they are bench made and cost like thousands of dollars. And even most designer shoes now are just, it's a plastic form that they then wrap leather around to make it give this illusion, but it is not actually a leather heel, okay? The other fabulous thing about this shoe, first of all, just look at this shape in here. Do you guys see that? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I have another pair here that has an even better kind of sexy little arch here. Are we connected? Yes. Success. Oh, it's so good. Okay, I will admit, one of the questionable because there's balance in everything, darlings, okay? When one tries to be a classy person, you have to balance this, right? Like, I'll tell you a secret. One of our favorite cheaty places is McDonald's, okay? You can't tell anybody that. But we are carnivore 95% of the time. And then when we have a little cheaty day, you know, we go and indulge in our trashy side, as it were, and we go and eat at McDonald's, which no tea, no shade, no pink lemonade on those of you who eat McDonald's on a regular basis. I don't blame you one bit, okay? But I can't do it every day because then I would be fat, and that would go against my deeply rooted personal repulsion of being repulsive. No, I'm not going to be able to say the word. Oh, well, whatever. It being fat, all right? It's a personal burden that I bear, and yeah, anyways. Now, what was I saying? We were talking about this beautiful pair of DKNY summer sandal mules, all right? The other nice thing about these is, we were talking about leather construction and, you know, this stacked heel, and then also just like peep the multiple layers of leather that have gone into this sole, okay? And the whole sole is just beautifully made, all pieces of leather, okay? Even this, like look at this. It's got like a cushioned leather footbed, all right? When do you ever see anybody doing cushioned footbeds ever, okay? Unless you're looking at another brand that I have here that I'll show you in a little bit that also does cushioned footbeds, but they are a foot brand that is known for making shoes for a specific type of professional, you know, that dances. But I mean, look at that. Look at that. This is like a little work of art, okay? That's what's lovely about really beautifully made shoes, okay? And that's what I want to impart upon y'all, right? Is the idea that practical everyday objects, or impractical, right? Because it's a heel. Is it practically impractical? Which, oh God, what a terrible wink. Let's try it again. Practically impractical, which we adore, okay? Part of my whole design ethos is practically impractical. But everyday objects, there's a art that is found in really beautiful, considered craftsmanship, okay? One of my favorite YouTubers, let me flip open my page here and make a little note, see? Okay, Rajiv Surendra, I think I'm saying his name correctly. He has an entire channel that is dedicated to shining the light on beautiful, stunning craftsmanship, and I adore his channel. It's beautiful, it's practical, and he has such a joy and care for bringing recognition to artisanal skills, right? And this is just a little tangent here, but you know what? It's my video and I can do what I want. One of the important things I think about this and talking about this, or acknowledging that art and handcraft is important, is even more relevant today than ever, because of the rise of AI, right? So everybody talks about, you know, this concern over AI and it replacing jobs, which, yeah, I understand. I'm completely empathetic towards that, and it's gonna be rough. But the reality is that there's always been this constant switchover throughout human history of jobs and job titles and job sectors, right? Based off of what we're having to do to, survive and find ways of living, right? Like if you look at, the beginning of human history, the predominant jobs were, hunting and gathering, right? Or you were a hunter and you went out and you spent your day trying to get meat, or you were a woman who stayed at home and you tanned leather, you made dwellings, you made clothing, and that was something those were two of the primary jobs up until the industrialization of society, right? So until a lot of those tasks could be accomplished with machinery, that was something that was being done at home. And now in the computer age, we're realizing that a lot of these computer-based jobs can be done, in fact, by a computer. Which, who's surprised by that? Baby, I don't know what you thought was going to happen, but yeah. Anyways, part of what is beautiful about talking about these and the things that Rajiv talks about is that in how I ended up being really fortunate in the career that I chose to go into, despite overpaying for the education, is that I have technically a glorified blue-collar job. I work with my hands. I have a skill-based trade. It's just viewed in a bougie light because of the glamorization of it via shows like Project Runway or, the glorification of fashion design and of designers, right? But at the end of the day, I am a seamstress. I am a tailor. I work with my hands. I do a manual labor-based job. And that is what makes something like this so beautiful, especially when compared to like a more modern, I'm going to keep using Steve Madden as an example, but, like your ASOS shoes and your Steve Madden shoes and, your generic brands that you buy off of Amazon, or, the difference between drinking your tea out of something like this versus, a plastic cup, right? Or I had an even better at-hand example, and here I am reaching all the way across the table. Like, look, drinking water out of this versus out of a Stanley cup, right? Which I can tell you personally, it tastes better when it's out of something nice and pretty. But anyways, these things, part of what makes them unique and special, or, things that are crafted, right? This is a belt buckle, by the way, is that you cannot duplicate the handcraft with the machine. You can't duplicate that with AI. So these manual labor jobs, like doing this, or if you're really interested in learning how to do this, please look up, oh Jesus, every time I need the name, it's just not there. I'm gonna have to go look. Give me a second. I've got a pair of boots I can go look at. I don't know why I didn't grab these to dig into anyways to begin with. You want to talk about a great pair of well-made shoes. How dare I leave them out? So rude of me. Okay, so if any of you are willing to move to Wisconsin, not Minnesota, Wisconsin, and learn how to do a trade skill, a craft, I highly, 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 please, someone go out to Wisconsin and work for Russell moccasins. Okay, look at this. This is their safari moccasin. Rose Anvil does a phenomenal video on this. Russell Moccasins themselves have a really fantastic short video on how these are made, and these are so spectacular. I am obsessed with this brand. One day, we're putting it out into the universe. I am going to do a collaboration with this brand. I am obsessed. But Russell Moccasins, the craftsmanship, the skill, this pair of boots, every single one is made by hand, okay? A person put so much time and effort to create this fabulous pair of boots, all right? I love it, the art of this shoe. All right, so if you're looking to get into a career where AI cannot replace you, shoemaking, all right? I'm a designer. You don't have to be a designer. You can just be a seamstress, right? I know a lot of really talented seamstresses. Instead of going out and buying something on ASOS, why don't you hunt down a local seamstress? They will be able to create something for you that is purely unique and beautiful and fits you better than anything that you could buy online, okay? But craft, that is what makes these so beautiful. Like, again, I was talking about that padded footbed. Look at that. That is a full leather, like you can see it literally, look at that. It's like a padded leather cushion in here. You can see the stitching that is connecting the upper to the lower here. Look at that. And what's special about this shoe is that you see this top stitching here that connects that first layer to the second layer. But see, first layer, second layer, but then they actually went a step further and put a flat, because you see there is no stitching here on the bottom, right? Because they put a flat piece of leather over the bottom to just protect those laces or that stitching. So, because if you put a piece of leather on top of that, it's gonna protect those stitches from wear, and it's gonna last a lot longer, okay? So, but I mean, this is just a truly fantastic, beautiful pair of black summer mules. The other nice thing about these, which if you're looking for a the other idea is that you want to get things that you can have a lot of utility with, right? You want to have if you only buy a few pairs of shoes, make sure that you can wear them with a lot, right? And what's nice about these is that they don't have a super high heel. I think this is maybe like a 3-inch heel. Might be, yeah, I had to measure it up against another pair, but it's like a 3-inch heel, okay? Which is very practical. It's super easy to walk in. It's also chunkier, so it's gonna relieve a lot of like the pressure of like a stiletto heel. Easier to walk in across a lot of different terrains. So I live in New York City. If you're walking down disreputable sidewalks, then you need something that has a much more substantial practical heel than, say, like a stiletto, all right? So look for craftsmanship, guys, all right? Like, it's just, it can't be beat, cannot be beat, and you basically can't buy it right now, which is part of why, you know, we need to revitalize that industry, but also what makes these shoes, when you can buy them, so expensive, all right? So that brings us into, it's a nice little segue to what do I think your like essential heels are, right? Because, or like essential shoes. Let me actually go run and grab an example of one of my essential shoes, okay? We're gonna be really quick here. Oh no, we're jingling. All right, so, and you guys, you have to forgive me because this pair, like, they were gently used when I bought them, but they are absolutely beat to shiznits and back now. Like, you can see my heel cup here is just falling apart. Like, these boys are ratty. These are my common projects. Like, I've even got the little angled shoe heel wedge wear down pattern there. But yeah, these are my CPs. I love them. They're just a classic white tennis shoe. They're pretty expensive. You can usually find pairs on, you know, resale websites that are gently worn, which is how I bought these first. And I sized down in these. So I am normally a 37. I'm a pretty standard size 7. And I got these in a 36 because the 37s were just like slightly too large. But yeah, the common projects, I really, really love them. And I have probably had these for 8 years now. And this is what they look like after 8 years. Okay, like, look at this. Look at this. She ratty, okay? She ratty. And like I said, Rose Anvil did a really fantastic review of white sneakers on his website that I highly recommend if you're just looking to get into white sneakers. Because I do love these, but they are quite a significant upfront investment. I think common projects right now are like $400 or $500 for a fresh pair, which, you know, considering that I have had these since, I mean, it's 10 years now. Like, I definitely bought these in like 2016, and it is year of our Lord 2026, and 2026. And they're still going strong, okay? Like, the bottoms are pretty worn. I showed you my little like angled wear pattern here on the back of the heel. You know, they desperately need to be cleaned. They're full of sand. But for 10 years down the road, these puppies do not look that bad, okay? They really don't. Yeah, so 10 out of 10 on the CPs, but white classic leather sneaker, all right? You really need to own one of these. And do leather, always do leather, because it's gonna wear better. It makes your feet just feel ensconced. Leather's actually, you know, fairly antimicrobial. It doesn't hold on to germs the same way that fabric does. And just, again, I mean, like I said, I've had these for a decade, and we do have some creasing here that's got, you know, dirt collection in them, but overall, they're still going strong, baby. So if you do leather and you do a really well-made pair, $400, let's say they're $500, you're talking about $50 a year lifetime cost for a $500 pair of shoes. So, you know, would you rather have one $50 pair of really shitty sneakers for, you know, you have to replace every year? Which, where are you gonna find $50 sneakers these days? I don't even know if Walmart sells any for $50. That's a road trip. We need to go to Walmart and we need to do a review on the shoe section. Get a finger on that pulse, okay? And I don't say that because I'm some kind of high and mighty, don't get out in the world and don't know how much a carton of eggs cost, okay? It's just I live in New York City. The closest Walmart is at least 60 miles away, and I don't shop. Okay, I mean, I do shop, but I shop online. I don't shop in person. It saves me money, and I buy vintage, so. But white sneakers, okay? White leather sneakers, classic, go-to, all right? You can throw it on with everything. And you saw my other recommendation, which is a pair of loafers. You know, mine have tassels. You can get the classic penny loafer. You know, you are going to know what color works best in your wardrobe. My default is always black. most of my purses are black, and I just think that black goes with everything. So like 90% of my shoes are black. And when I do a shoe that has a pop of color, I'm now at the point where I have a specific color palette that I work within, because I just want everything to go with everything. And I have my favorite colors, and that's what shows up in my wardrobe, and that's what I limit myself to when it comes to buying shoes these days, or at least I try to, right? I mean, every once in a while a fun pair sneaks in there, but 9 times out of 10, especially now, when I'm shopping for shoes, I either go for black, I go for a neutral like a nude, or I've got my pops of color that I like limit myself to, right? And when you think about your own personal pops of color, you know, look at your wardrobe, look at what you wear a lot of now, right? Like what's going to go to the best with that. And for me, because most of my wardrobe, you know, lavender, cardigan, grandma set notwithstanding, most of my wardrobe is neutrals. I predominantly wear black, white, gray, ivory, you know, neutral. And then I like to put my pops of color in my accessories. So that's what I do with my shoes. And I limit my color palette based off of my personal preference to my favorite colors, right? So, but this is a fabulous little basic, right? And you could even do this in your preferred, you know, favorite color, right? Like I've got my purple neighborhood lady where her favorite color is clearly purple. Everything she wears is always purple. Her accessories are purple. And so obviously if given the choice, purple lady would buy a purple pair, all right? You're gonna know best, but when in doubt, go classic. This or like a really great cognac brown, walnut brown, something that you can just throw on. It goes with everything. That way you don't have to think about it, all right? But yeah, loafer. So right now we're up to white leather tennis shoe, a loafer. And then I will also add in this one that I talked about, a nice just summer mule. You can get a strappy sandal if you want. I like the mules because lately I like that I can just slide in and out of them, and you don't have to do all the buckles, and I'm kind of lazy. So I'm a big fan of mules. Yeah, I don't like slingbacks. That's a personal preference, but just a really nice summer sandal, okay? And I've got a couple of examples here, but this is just a really easy classic. You can wear it with a little black dress. It looks really good with jeans. You can wear it with, you know, shorts. You can just you need just a nice summer sandal that when you need to dress things up just a touch, you can just pop that in, right? Then what is okay, here we go. These are, if you were to get a pair of shoes that are your go-to anytime you have to put on a heel, right? Unless it's for like work, right? There's 2 different types of heels. You've got your formal / summer heels. And formal, I mean like evening wear, right? Like you're going to be wearing a gown, or you're going to a party, like New Year's Eve, right? That kind of shoe. And then there's your classic pump, right? With a closed toe. But if you're just looking for I can throw it on with a sundress, I can throw it on with shorts, I can throw it on with an evening gown, I can wear it to a wedding, I can, you know, wear it on a hot date. These are a black version and a nude version of my current favorite basic shoe, okay? And these are made by, so this is the Gala heel by Fabulicious, which is Pleaser, all right, which is the brand that makes specialty shoes for professional dancers. And I love these, okay? First of all, look at this arch. Is this not just sexy? Look at that. She is stunning. This is like a 4.5-inch heel. It's like a 4-inch heel, I think. 4 inches. I should have a ruler here and I could tell you in centimeters what it is, but we're not. So, but I have these with a black sole and then I have them in a nude sole because why not? And these are, despite being made of plastic, because they are a specialty professional footwear company, I mean, whatever you might say, this particular job requires very specialty footwear, and this was made with that specifically in mind. And if you are doing that kind of profession, you need a shoe that is comfortable, that is going to last a long time, and is sexy. So what better brand to look to, right? Especially for cost effectiveness. I think most of their shoes are like $100 to $150. They have a couple that have, more rhinestones and bling on them, and they run a little bit closer to like $200, but they're really well made. I think these are also made in the US. Don't quote me on that, but I do think that Pleaser's shoes are made in the US. And it does have, this is not super high quality leather, but it does have a leather toe bed right here. It also has this really fantastic cushioned sole, which is, I mean, if you're wearing heels for any length of time, like a cushioned sole is just luxury, all right? And if you see how flat this sole is, like look at the connectivity that the ball of your foot is gonna have on that shoe, okay? Hold on, let me get my little background here. Like, look at that, okay? You're gonna have an enormous amount of really secure floor connectivity with this shoe, which just adds to the comfort and the ease of wearing this, right? And because they were designed for a professional purpose, this arch to heel spike is one continuous piece. Like you see that? It's all molded as one continuous piece, and the heel spike to steel vamp is also one whole continuous piece. So it's just a really fabulous, well-made pair of shoes. And you can't go wrong with like the clear front, right? Like I have a pair that has straps on it, but I like the clear. It just gives you a really long, clean, elongated leg, all right? Same with these. And I have them in 2 different colors because sometimes you just, maybe you want a little black, maybe you want a little nude, right? And the pageant girly in me, bikini heel, all right? And I think they were restocking in these. I don't know, I need to check. But yeah, 10 out of 10 on Fabulicious and Pleaser. They just make some really fantastic shoes. And the other thing to note in these are another brand that I typically size down in. All right, they feel a little snug, especially with the clear when you first get them, but this plastic actually heats up and loosens and then forms to your foot, so you get this really insane, comfortable, secure fit. But yeah, I size down in these. So I'm a 6 in Fabulicious/Pleaser. But yeah, for your just like basic Betty, go with anything, hot date, church, girls' night, wedding, I mean, just feeling spicy, competition, practice, like if you need a solid like heel to just tromp around in and get good at, this is it. This is the brand, okay? 10 out of 10 recommend. But yeah, I'm on the mailing list, y'all, okay? I am constantly on the lookout for any new or bringbacks that they are putting up, which, speaking of, we're gonna put this out into the universe because Pleaser, I need you to to bring this shoe back, okay? I want this shoe with a black sole, not clear. So please, pleaser, do us all a favor and bring this shoe back, okay? Oh, it's this bad boy, okay? Look at her, yo. Sex, just acrylic sex, all right? Just, I mean, when they say fabulicious, they really mean fabulicious, all right? That's just a hot shoe. It's a hot shoe. It takes practice to learn how to walk in these, because this is actually a 5-inch heel with like a 3/4-inch platform. So this is a really, really high arch here, but darlings, fabulicious, okay? Please, please bring back the sultry, all right? Pleaser, hear me. We may not make it through this year. Please, please bring this back, all right? We may all die in an apocalypse, but bring this shoe back. All right. Oh, okay, next. So these are, these next 3 shoes are variations on a theme of those fabulicious, okay? You do not have to get the brand that I have. As a matter of fact, that's probably not what I would recommend anyways. Just from a cost perspective, it just doesn't make sense. And it's not like anybody knows when you have your foot in the shoe anyways, that these are who they are, but I'm just putting the little ankle strap together so my shoes look put together when I'm showing them to y'all. But I mean, in this one, you can even tell it's kind of hairy around that whatchamacallit. But anyways, another great like nude basic heel. There you go, just a nude pump. All right, or nude pump. This is a nude sandal. All right, just a really beautiful nude sandal. Now, what differentiates this versus others, right? First thing is look at this arch here. Do you see that? Do you see how this is just one continuous piece? They've put a piece of leather in here that just smooths this line, and it gets really just clean and artistic. Like look at that. Look at that. That's just beautiful. Look at it. Stunning. Gorgeous. Okay? That's beautiful. Also, the other nice thing about this is that this is a chunkier heel. And we've already talked about the benefits of a chunkier heel, but this is fantastic. The one downside that I will say to these shoes is that, first of all, they're patent leather, which is beautiful, but it is a bitch and a half to break in. And these, because they have this stiff part here, this area will give you blisters, okay? And it just, I've owned these for years and they still have not broken in all the way, okay? These are really well made. These are definitely a few years old. These are pre-COVID. They're definitely like a, at least like 2018. Yeah, these are at least a 2018 heel. So, and these are by Saint Laurent. I am a 37 in Saint Laurent's. But yeah, these are great. These are just my like classic, basic nude summer sandal pump. If you can find something that looks kind of similar to this. Personally, instead of doing this back, see again how it's like one piece and that's gonna rub and give you blisters, I would recommend something like this, which this is the earlier version of that nude heel, but see how soft and floppy this is? This is a very like classic way to do an ankle strap. These are stupid comfortable in this aspect, okay? They do not bother me up here, all right? This is the Jane sandal by Saint Laurent. And this was, again, just classic black stiletto. This is a classic stiletto, okay? This is a classic black stiletto heel. And you can't go wrong with this. You know, you can do different configurations of like toe strap. This one is stunning on, but it is not the most comfortable because this strap is so daggone skinny. I also, just because of the way that these shoes work, when I wear them, I actually put booty glue on the bottom of my feet to keep my feet from sliding forward. So I'll put booty glue on the palms, the soles of my feet to make them sticky. And then these are pretty much good to go. This pair has seen a lot of New York nights. So they're slightly uncomfortable, but clearly not so uncomfortable that it kept me from wearing the ever-loving crap out of them, okay? But hot tip, if you have a shoe like this that's got a skinnier strap here, booty glue. It'll keep on a lot of shoes, right? Like if you have a pair of shoes that you love and they fit, but your foot kind of slides forward, booty glue on the bottom of the feet. But this is just a very classic black stiletto sandal, and you can't go wrong with this in your wardrobe, okay? Like, just, you can't go wrong. It's a classic for a reason. I think every young woman should own this shoe, all right? It's just perfect, right? Then, this is see the next shoe I'm gonna talk about, I gotta strap my sandal up really good. These actually seeing these not on the foot just does not do them justice. These are a fantastic little versatile pump that I got years ago. I got these at least I probably got these 12 years ago. These are by Walter Steger. This is a classic pump, okay? But see how what makes it different is it's two-tone, okay? So it's a two-tone heel. It's got the tan in the front and the black in the back, which, you know, it's just beautiful. It's very elongating with the tone, with the tan toe, but it's also just, it goes with everything, right? Like you want to throw this on with a little black dress, you're good for a job interview, you can wear this to a funeral, you can wear this to church with your Nana, right? Like it's just a really workhorse pump. And the beautiful thing about these is it's got this really unique arch in the heel, so it gives it just a touch of extra funness, right? It's got an extra little touch of whimsy because it has this curved heel here. The other really fun thing about these is that the sides here actually cut pretty low on the foot, and this actually is not as tall a heel cup. So to show you, for example, right, see how much higher this heel cup goes than this? It gives a really unique look to this shoe when you have it on. And every woman needs just a really fantastic closed toe pump, okay? Because this is what you wear when you're going to formal business events, right? Is it a professional environment? Is it church in the winter, right? You need a closed toe shoe because covering up your tootsies, actually the more skin you cover up, right, and your tootsies count, the more you cover up, the more formal and business and professional it looks, right? So if you are looking for just a, really good classic business professional shoe, this is mine. I don't think that Walter Steger makes this particular shoe anymore. I actually even haven't looked at Walter Steger shoes in a while, which we'll add that to the list of things for me to troll the internet for after this. But just a really nice closed toe pump, right? This is another one of those things that so many different versions of this exist out in the world that it's really easy to just add a little flavor of your personal style by picking different details, right? Like the shape of the shoe, is it solid black? You know, you don't necessarily need an ankle strap. You know, you can add a lot of personal taste with the style of pump that you choose. But I recommend in this particular style to do something that's a neutral color, right? Like you want something that is going to go with as many things as possible, right? And then after you've got that box ticked, if you save up your coins later on and you want to add some pizzazz, you can do something with like color, right? But for your like essential shoe wardrobe, 10 out of 10 recommend on just like a two-tone closed-toed pump, okay? Those are kind of all of the essentials, right? I mean, the cowboy boot is a good example of like a tall leather boot. I have a lot of different variations of like tall leather boots. You know what, since we're talking about boots, now I'm gonna have to go and dig a couple of pairs out because you can't talk about them without showing them. But I do think that you can't go wrong with like a boot, right? It's up to you whether you decide you want to have a heeled boot, a flat boot. It's really personal style and personal taste, right? Like you have to know what is going to work well for you. A really classic boot is like a equestrian boot, you know, that's kind of flat. This is one of my favorites. I love this boot. This is another vintage find. This is a vintage pair of Elias. Okay, look at her. Look at her. Oh, hold on, look at this boot. Oh, look at it. Oh, darlings. She is fabulous. Okay, look at that. Look at that heel. All right, just fabulous, and it just goes on and on and on forever. And she laces up the front. Okay, this is in black suede, but this is an over the knee boot. I love that boot. Love this boot. It's completely impractical for like everyday wear. I used to wear it at work because, you know, if you're able to sit, it's not as big of a deal. But if you're someone that you are going to be walking around a lot or you have to stand a lot for your job, I do not necessarily recommend those. We're overheated again. Damn it. Okay, here we are. Adjust just a little bit. Okay. Back again. After cool down numero 2. We were talking about boots. Okay, so you saw the Elia pair, which, I mean, you can't go wrong with an over-the-knee boot. Also, just a tall boot that's fitted, right? Like a really nice equestrian boot, something that comes up to your knee that you can wear either under jeans or with a skirt. Can't go wrong with that. Another pair of boots that I own, I mean, come on. Would I be me without the Tabis? Okay. I love these shoes. I've had them resold a couple of times just from wear. But yeah, I love these. It's also just a nice practical big heel for walking around in New York. But yeah, beyond boots. This is another one that I wear all the time. I mean, you can tell, right? This was another vintage pair from eBay. And you can see, so this was clearly like it was supposed to be leather, but it's obviously not because it's all peeled off and it's just this fabric now. But I got these because they're just a nice little like pointed toe flat. They've got hardware on them that match a purse that I own. And, you know, they're just a black, really easy to slide on little mule Love these. I throw them on to take the trash out. I throw them on to, you know, I went to a Pilates class in them. I wear these with everything. They're just super easy to get on and off. They dress every outfit up. But apparently I'm going to need to replace these soon because they have basically fallen apart on the inside. But yeah, that's why, again, always recommend getting full leather, not just like fabric lined. They're just going to last longer. All right, but yeah, a little like mule slide with a low heel. Very practical. Alrighty, and now we can talk about some of the impractical shoes. So I am a shoe freak. Okay, so oh wait, before I start getting into the weird shoes, let's talk about one other thing that I highly recommend for creating really easy, cohesive outfits. Okay, so when I was talking about this shoe, and what I have been mentioning about buying black shoes is that they match all of my bags, right? Like most of my handbags are black. So these are gonna go with all of them. Same with the black shoes. Like they're gonna match your purse, right? Which is so matching accessories is a really easy way to make an outfit cohesive, right? Like if your belt, if your handbag, if your shoes, they have a color, print, or, you know, they have a cohesive theme to them, then no matter what you pair them with, it's going to give you a really nice, well-rounded look, right? Now, in that vein, so my favorite colors is green. And so I found this fabulous, well, first off, it started with the purse. So I own this particular purse in two colors. I own it in this green crocodile, and I own a black version. It is by Cole Haan. I think I paid $20 for both, like total. One of them was literally like a $10 bag, but this is my pop of color purse. Okay, it's green, it's a little barrel shape, and it fits everything that you would need in it. Truly, it's got, you know, a pouch back here. It also, come on, look at that, it's like a fun fuchsia pink on the inside. Okay, I mean, this is fabulous. I love it. So I bought this purse because I wanted a pop of color, and green is my favorite color. So we went with this. It's also full leather. The fun thing about this too is that the reason I got this for so little is this was actually it was slashed. So you can see here, when they were unpackaging this, it got cut. And so somebody got it for a really good deal. What I did is I put a piece of fabric or textile behind this and then just glued it. So you can see the glue on the bottom there. I just glued the fabric to this so that it wouldn't spread anymore and it would just keep it together. But honestly, it really doesn't matter, right? Like nobody sees the bottom of your purse. Nobody would know. And I paid like $10 for this, okay? This is fabulous. And since I had a green purse as a neutral wardrobe queen, how do I style that with my wardrobe? Well, the answer is matching belt. See, this is by Cole Haan as well. And it is actually the exact same leather, just in belt form. So I have a matching belt, and I found these really fun lime green mule heels as well that I love. These are by Joey. I don't even know that they're around anymore. These are a pretty standard construction for a heel. There's nothing particularly special about them. I got them specifically because they match the purse, right? So as a whole, right? Like they're not croc, but they're the same color, right? Which is the goal, right? So you've got your belt, you've got your shoe, you've got your purse, and that gives you a really fantastic, like coordinated outfit pairing grouping. And I actually just keep the belt in the purse so that whenever I decide to wear the purse, the belt's just ready to rock. And yeah, so fun. That is a style tip quickie right there. So if you have, you know, your favorite color, or if you are a like leopard print person and you just style like a leopard print purse or a leopard print shoe, you can also do hats. We love hats. We're trying really hard to bring hats back, but hats in a coordinated color as well are a really easy way to add some fun style and kind of make everything cohesive. But yeah, now my fun shoes. Okay, so these are some of my favorites from my collection. This pair is actually the very first designer shoe that I ever had like a fantasy about. It's not the first designer shoe that I ever owned, but it is the first one that I ever had a fantasy about. And these are Prada from, I want to say like 2013 or 2014. They are fabulous. I mean, look at that. They're just gorgeous. I love this shoe. It goes with nothing. And, you know, the primary colors really don't do much for me anymore, but it's just a nostalgia shoe for me at this point. I love it. egg on me, okay? I went and I hope I got audio this whole time. If I didn't get audio on this, I'm gonna be so miffed, but whatever. Anyways, let me go grab one last pair, okay? Because I can't be talking about my weird novelty impractical fashion shoes without showing you this pair, because this is literally my most recent pair that was a designer pair and that were bought new, not vintage. They were bought on sale, but not new. Give me one second. Oh, they're so fabulous. I don't know why I thought I could avoid showing these off, because if they're going to see the world, actually, you know what? I got a couple pairs. We just have to, I have too many good shoes, y'all. I have too many good shoes. Okay, so the pair that I was referring to was, oh, these are so, again, completely impractical, but like so fabulous. I mean, how could you say no? Truly, as a shoe collector, like, how could you say no? Oh, look at those. These are Givenchy. They are the horn mule or horn heel. Look at that. And what kind of makes these devastating to wear is this like triple loop toe situation here. Very unique on, but not necessarily the most comfortable of things to wear. But my God, aren't they fabulous? Okay. Then we have these. These are spectacular as well. I got these on sale at Barney's as well at their end of season sale. They used to just have the most fabulous end of season sale. I actually think I picked these up the same time that I got this silver Prada flame heels. But these are Ferragamo. This is Ferragamo's like classic cantilever heel. Like, look at that. How devastating, you guys. Okay, look at that. I mean, this is just eleganza, okay? Like, honey, you do not get more clean, classic, like evening heel than a Ferragamo cantilever wedge. Like, she's beautiful. She's classy. Like, my goodness. She's Miss United States. But, and so the last pair that I'm going to show you are actually the second, it is the second designer shoe that I ever purchased. The first pair I don't keep out anymore and I don't wear. I actually don't wear this pair either, just because when I first bought them, I was wearing them to such an extent that the heel just can't be replaced anymore. Just when you see it, you'll understand why, because it just wasn't built for the amount of wear that I was putting in on it. Because if you're hiking around in New York City, going to bars, I mean, these are fabulous, and I wore the ever-loving crap out of them. But the heel's just not built for New York City streets. But this was a Casadei, which is an Italian shoemaker. I have a pair of black Casadei pumps. Or no, they're stiletto sandals. So I have a pair of black Casadei stiletto sandals. But this was a collaboration with Prabal Gurung back in 2014, I want to say. And like, I mean, come on. But this heel here specifically is why I don't wear these anymore. It's, you know, the tap has already been replaced, but I had these, they made them in a black closed-toed pump, and I wore the ever-loving shiznits out of those bad boys. But, yeah, I wore them literally to the point where you could not, it like devastated this part of the heel, and you like can't replace the tap anymore. So they just don't get worn. I keep them for nostalgia purposes, but yeah, second pair of designer shoes that I ever bought on sale. yeah. So that's a little sneaky peek into my shoe collection, along with some footwear advice, because it just makes sense that the very first classy, not trashy, style tip extraordinaire video would be about footwear, because they are my favorite. But also, if you want a strong house, you build a good foundation. And shoes are nothing but a good foundation. So get out there. Remember, if you're going to buy a pair of heels, don't get this one first. Get like this one first, okay? This is infinitely more comfortable. It's infinitely more practical. It will last a lot longer, and it costs a fraction of the price, okay? So go for practicality, go for utility, and go for quality. All right, and stay classy, not trashy. And I'll catch up with you next episode. Bye.